The Empire of Grift: How Financial Elites Looted the World and Got Away with It. Introduction. Theft by design. Throughout modern history, financial crises have often been portrayed as unpredictable catastrophes, freak accidents of capitalism, or miscalculations by rogue actors. But behind many of these collapses lie recurring patterns: manipulation, fraud, insider protection, and the erasure of accountability. In each case, elaborate empires were built on deceit, only to implode while their architects walked away enriched or lightly punished. This essay examines a list of high-profile financial criminals: Boesky, Milken, Madoff, SBF, Epstein, Maxwell, and others, not merely as isolated cases but as symptoms of a broader system of wealth extraction and laundering that consistently leaves the global working class footing the bill. Chapter 1. Ivan Boesky and Michael Milken, Wall Street's original grifters in the 1980s. Ivan Boesky and Michael Milken pioneered a new form of financial engineering, leveraged buyouts and insider trading cloaked in innovation. Boesky, once admired for his insights into corporate takeovers, was revealed to be trading on insider information. His partner in profit, Milken, the so-called junk bond king, created a market for high-yield, high-risk bonds that enabled hostile corporate raids. Their crimes were not just violations of financial regulations, they were attacks on the productive economy. Companies were gutted, workers laid off, pensions looted. Boesky was fined $100 million. Milken, after a brief prison stint, rebranded himself as a philanthropist. The money vanished into holding structures, shell companies, and offshore accounts. The narrative was set: punish the face, preserve the network. Chapter 2. Enron. The blueprint for financial illusion. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, Enron transformed fraud into high art, using complex accounting structures like special purpose entities, SPEs, to hide debt and inflate profits. Executives sold their stock at inflated prices while employees' pensions, locked into company stock, evaporated. Enron was not a traditional Ponzi scheme. It was a systemic hallucination made possible by regulators who looked the other way, and banks like Citigroup and J.P. Morgan Chase who designed the financial instruments. No meaningful regulation followed its collapse. Its accounting firm, Arthur Andersen, was scapegoated and dismantled. Chapter 3. Bernard Madoff, The House Always. Bernie Madoff's Ponzi scheme is often framed as an aberration, but Madoff was chairman of NASDAQ and deeply embedded in the financial elite. For over 20 years, he defrauded investors out of nearly $65 billion. SEC officials repeatedly ignored whistleblowers, including forensic accountant Harry Markopolos. What makes Madoff's case striking is not just the scale, but the systematic institutional failure to intervene. Where did the money go? Hundreds of millions were siphoned through offshore entities, family foundations, and luxury real estate, never recovered. His victims, charities, retirees, and middle-class savers, were offered crumbs. Once again, no bankers were held accountable. Chapter 4. FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried, and the crypto mirage. Sam Bankman-Fried, hailed as the J.P. Morgan of crypto, ran FTX and Alameda Research like a casino. The collapse revealed blatant self-dealing, lack of internal controls, and customer funds used as collateral for risky trades. FTX wasn't simply a crypto failure. It exposed how political donations, media favor, and celebrity endorsements created a smokescreen of legitimacy. SBF gave millions to politicians from both parties, and FTX was hailed by regulators until it suddenly collapsed. As in 2008, the Federal Reserve and the U.S. Treasury absorbed the blow by bailing out systemic risk from crypto exposure, just as they had done for banks. Chapter 5. Alex Mashinsky and the Celsius collapse. Alex Mashinsky, founder of Celsius Network, marketed his platform as a revolutionary savings bank for crypto holders. Behind the scenes, it was operating as a high-risk hedge fund using user deposits without transparency. Celsius froze accounts in 2022, and billions in assets vanished. As regulators scrambled, Mashinsky withdrew millions for himself and declared bankruptcy. The model was clear: extract money, declare insolvency, protect the insiders. Chapter 6. Goldman Sachs, Lehman Brothers, and the Great Heist of 2008. No discussion of financial crime is complete without Goldman Sachs and Lehman Brothers. In the run-up to the 2008 financial crash, these institutions sold toxic mortgage securities to investors while betting against them internally. Goldman even advised Greece to cook its books to join the EU, pocketing fees while setting up future economic disaster. Lehman's collapse sent shockwaves, but Goldman was bailed out. The Fed printed trillions. Nobody followed where the money went. Much was funneled to foreign banks, hedge funds, and shadow lenders. The culprits got bonuses. The victims got austerity. Chapter 7. Jeffrey Epstein, the banker of blackmail Jeffrey. Epstein's wealth came not from finance alone, but from manipulation, extortion, and alleged intelligence connections. His ties to Victoria's Secret billionaire Les Wexner, MIT, and Wall Street elites paint a picture of someone who laundered influence as much as money. His offshore network of shell companies and trust funds remains opaque. After his suicide, the money trail was buried. Epstein was a dark node in a web of high-level compromise involving finance, politics, and media. Chapter 8. The UK Parallel. Robert Maxwell and the Pension Heist. Robert Maxwell, media mogul, and father of Ghislaine Epstein, stole $460 million from his employees' pension funds before mysteriously falling off his yacht. His empire was a classic Ponzi: high leverage, inflated valuations, and personal enrichment masked as expansion. Like his American counterparts, Maxwell was protected by proximity to intelligence agencies, banks, and media. After his death, the victims were offered partial repayments, and the affair was quietly buried. Chapter 9. A pattern of protection, not justice. Across all these examples, we find the same playbook: asset theft through financial complexity, insider; protection via regulatory capture, narrative laundering through controlled media disappearance of funds into untraceable structures; minimal or no prison time for elite criminals. Each case showcases not individual deviance, but systemic collusion. These are not aberrations. They are engineered outcomes in a world where law exists for the ruled, not the rulers. Conclusion. The final bailout. When the dust settles, the Federal Reserve, central banks, and taxpayers are forced to mop up the mess. Quantitative easing, stimulus packages, and too-big-to-fail narratives justify endless liquidity injections into the same system that looted the public. Accountability is replaced by spectacle. Hearings are held, but justice is denied. The global financial system, under the guise of democracy and capitalism, has been hollowed out by a predatory elite. The money laundering, asset theft, and regulatory complicity that allowed Boesky, Milken, Madoff, SBF, and others to flourish must be understood not as past scandals but as an ongoing method of rule.